Hey VC, this is Mark. Welcome to Vinyl Crush. A bunch of records to show today, some of them new. I have a couple of, I have some grails. I have some I can't believe I found these records, grails, that I want to show today. I'm looking forward to showing you those as well. So we'll dive in. But first, I want to bring back somebody by popular demand.
Hey.
Nice to see you again.
Great to be back on the Vinyl Crush channel. And we have some awesome albums to show you all today. So shall we?
Yeah, why don't you dive in first?
All right, here we go.
Go for it.
So my first pick is a Portland band. Surprise, surprise.
Great album.
It is such a great album. This is Eat Skull. This is their third album. This came out in 2013, and it's the first pressing. So Eat Skull is known as a noise punk rock band, hence the name Eat Skull. It's very punk rock, I think. However, when they got to their third album, they got together after 4 years of no new music, and they released more of I would say pop songs.
Yeah.
But it leans towards psych rock.
Yeah, it's like a lo-fi indie psych rock
Yeah.
album. It's quite good.
I adore this album.
Yeah, it's really good. If you like lo-fi indie psych rock, this is going to be your lucky day because you probably have not heard these guys before.
Yeah.
And it's outstanding.
Yeah, so check out Eat Skull, their third album.
Cool.
Yeah, what do you have, babe?
So my first album today is a remaster reissue from Blue Note. This is their 80 series. This is Herbie Hancock, Inventions and Dimensions. I'm going to show you the cover because the artwork on that cover is that perspective, the colors, it just really grabs your attention. That's a very good photograph.
Mm-hmm.
So this came out in 1963 originally. This is a brand new remaster by Kevin Gray, and it sounds amazing. They must have had the source tapes, must have been in great shape.
Yeah.
Sounds really good. Herbie was coming out of his sort of modernist hard bop and leaning back into post bop sort of modal jazz with complex rhythms. He has Paul Chambers on bass, Willie Bobo on drums, and Chihuahua Martinez on Latin percussion. Not a Latin jazz album though. This is really post bop, very modal. Modal meaning he's playing instead of in keys with tonics, he's playing in modes. So they're a little more fluid. They can play off of each other. It's more complex, really interesting. This is definitely, he's such an advanced keyboard player that he really takes advantage of that, and it sounds really good. This is a great album. I love this album.
Post bop is such a funny genre too.
I know, I love all the genre names.
Yeah.
Great. What do you got?
So, I must say, it's so fun to see all the comments from folks, and I love it when people say our collection is eclectic, because I totally agree. This next album is more on the country angle of things. This is Emmylou Harris with Evangeline. This album came out in 1981, and a couple of my favorite songs, the title track, Evangeline, with Robbie Robertson, that's my favorite song on the album. That's what got me to pick this up initially. But I also love, I think it's called Hot Burrito No. 2, and Mark loves the Sandman cover.
Yeah, it's a great cover of Sandman.
And she's such a gorgeous woman with such a beautiful voice, and she's been on the scene a long time, so picking up a first pressing for $6 was not such a bad deal. Yeah,
great album.
Yeah.
This next album I actually showed, I had 1 minute to show this. For the Four Corners Christmas album, a little special that they did. But
and by the way, thank you for featuring us on that.
Yeah,
Four
thanks.
Corners. That was really fun to do.
Michael, and Mazzy. So this is Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. This came out in 1984. It's a soundtrack to the film by the same name. Ryuichi Sakamoto has done a number of soundtracks since this. This is his first, though. He's done The Last Emperor. He did the soundtrack for Revenant. Great movie, great soundtrack. He played with Yellow Magic Orchestra in the 70s, and he's had quite a prolific solo career as well. He starred in this movie as well with David Bowie. They play opposite each other. David Bowie is a prisoner of war in a Japanese prisoner of war camp. And the two men are kind of attracted to each other is the best way I'm going to say that. And the movie is dark. It's really strange, really well done.
Yeah.
Directed by Oshima, a famous Japanese director. The album and the music is profound. Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, the title track, is probably something you've heard before. It's been on dozens of playlists. You were mentioning...
Yeah, a lot of people seem to know this soundtrack better than they know the movie, which really speaks to the quality of music.
Yeah, we'll play the song and they go, oh, I know that song. I didn't know it was a movie.
Yeah.
So he also brought in David Sylvian on the last track called Forbidden Colors. It's sort of a remake of the title track with David Sylvian. He's from the band Japan, singing the song Forbidden Colors, about the forbidden love between these two men who are supposed to hate each other. Great soundtrack, beautiful, beautiful music. This is a first pressing from Japan from 1984. I can't believe I found this. It was definitely kind of a grail for me, with the obi and everything. And the vinyl. Not that exciting to look at, but anyway, great album. If you haven't heard this, it's worth a check.
Yeah, it's such a great composition of music.
It's all yours.
All right, so MF Doom, picked this up a couple months ago. This is a reissue from this year, 2020. They reissued this on green and pink vinyl. So MF Doom is a British-American rap artist, and he's been in the music industry a long time. I adore this album. So a couple favorite songs are, oh gosh, what is it called? Hoe Cakes and Snitch Nishes.
Snitch Nishes. I can't even say it, yeah.
So that song features Mr. Fantastic, and MF Doom uses some awesome samples, and his lyrics are really funny. The artwork that he uses is really cool too. There's a bunch of little MF Dooms all around this guy. I want to show you the
like
back
Where's
cover.
Waldo?
Yeah. Also, the title of the album, Food, it's an anagram for MF Doom, which is kind of cool. There's a bunch of little MF Dooms back there. He's really distinct by the metal mask that he covers his face with. So, MF Doom, check out this album.
Yeah,
it's
really
so
good hip hop.
Really fun to listen to.
So the next album, this is an album I looked in the Wald for a first pressing of for about the last 4 years. I love this album. It came out in 1996, and it was her first album. And up until recently, it was the best album she'd ever put out. It's Fiona Apple's Tidal. This is actually not a first pressing. This is the remaster that just came out. I found a used copy in mint condition with all the trimmings, including the book that comes with it. You want to Vanna wipe that for me real quick? This is an amazing album. Criminal, great songs. I love this album, and it blew me away when it came out. I had it on CD at the time. And up until this album, Fetch the Bolt Cutters, that used to be my favorite Fiona Apple album. Now this is. This also comes with a little lyric book. Really nice to have the lyrics. You know, on this album, she created instruments. She used found objects. She created sounds and rhythms. It's still a pop album. It's complex and interesting, but it's still different at the same time. I love this album. If you haven't heard it, it's an incredible album, well worth listening to.
It really surprised me after all these years I hadn't listened to Fiona Apple, and this came out, and I was like, Fiona Apple, okay. And it is so good, you guys.
Yeah.
You have to check it out. All right, so jumping over to...
Great album. You have some good albums to show today. I'm jealous,
I'm pulling out all the tricks today. This is Cubist Blues. It's a collaboration with Alan Vega, Alex Chilton, and Ben Vaughn. And I mentioned this album because I showed Big Star in a couple previous videos. And I just adore Alan Vega. So, of course, the Alex Chilton collaboration came up naturally. Anyway, this came out in '94. This is a reissue. This recording happened over 2 magical nights in New York City in the winter. And the 3 of these folks got together, and the chemistry just ate up the room.
They just jammed.
This album is so good. So Mark surprised me with this. I think it was for my birthday.
Yeah.
It comes with this great insert which tells the whole story. And I, of course, read the whole thing.
You know, Alan Vega comes from Suicide, and Chilton comes from Big Star, and they're both really great musicians, and the two of them together is just such a nice blend. It's definitely blues. There's lots of different feels here, but the music is, we can't stop listening to it. I have to like hide the record so we listen to something else sometimes. This is such a good album.
Yeah, they all admired each other, but they didn't know each other too personally. But the chemistry was just like unspeakable.
Did you say that Henry Rollins was involved in this too?
Yeah, he was the first person to produce it, to get it on the radar of more of an audience. So.
Okay, he brought it out.
Didn't somebody recently say that you looked like Henry Rollins?
Somebody did on somebody commented that. Yes,
that's right. A compliment. So Cubist Blues, scope it out.
So now I'm going to show you a couple of my real grails. These are just, I walked into a record store and the owner said, "Hey Mark, I don't have anything new in today, but a guy just dropped that box off. You're welcome to go through it if you want. I haven't bought it yet." So I went through it and my eyes just went like bing.
Score.
First thing that I noticed was I picked up this record, Led Zeppelin I. Great album. I love this album. I grew up listening to Led Zeppelin. This came out in 1969. Led Zeppelin II came out in late 1969. This has like Good Times, Bad Times. Great song, really complex rhythms, really rocks. It has songs like You Shook Me with one of the most amazing harmonica solos I've ever heard. I never get tired of listening to this album. And then when I pulled the record out of the sleeve, my jaw dropped because this is first pressing from the UK on the Pink and Plum Atlantic labels. This is something I never thought I would hold in my hand, much less own or play. I was astounded. So I had to go through the rest of the box, obviously. And so the next album that I came across was this one, Led Zeppelin III. So this came out in 70. This is Led Zeppelin I and Led Zeppelin II are very similar. They're extensions of each other. The second one was like the next evolution of the first one. This album went outside the box for them. This has songs like Celebration Day, Gallows Pole, Bronier Stomp, which is one of my favorite songs, but they're like nothing that they had done before. This album is cool because it has a little color wheel inside that changes as you spin it. Yes, for all the kiddies out there who want to listen to Led Zeppelin. There's the inside. And again, when I pulled this record out of the sleeve, another first pressing on Pink and Plum labels. This is my favorite, well, my second favorite Led Zeppelin album. I love this album, and to get a first pressing of it was kind of mind-blowing. So I'm going to pause there and let you go.
All right. Another pick from Elise. Punk rock band, the Coathangers. So this trio is from Atlanta, Georgia, and they came out with Nosebleed Weekend back in 2016. This is a first pressing of 3,000 records that they released. The first 150 people, though, they got a Nosebleed Weekend kit, which included really funny stuff like bandages, condom, tampon.
It was like a survival kit, right?
Yeah, in the best way possible.
We didn't get that one.
No. This came out on colored vinyl, though. There's 3 different colors released. We got the bright green. And the Coathangers are very punk rock, and their name is a wicked ode to reproductive rights, which is a really punk rock thing to do.
Great punk rock thing to do. These guys, too, we've seen them live a couple of times, and if we ever get to do live music again, people, and you get a chance to see these girls, go see them. These women, really, really, really good live.
Yeah, they'll trade their instruments, so they all know how to play each other's instruments.
And they'll switch around in the middle of a set.
And then Meredith Franco here, the one with the nosebleed, she'll like leap into the crowd and crowd surf. They're so fun, so electric to see live. Yeah,
and there's one song where the singer played a solo on a squeaky toy.
Yeah, they use a dog squeaky toy. The song is called Squeaky Tiki, and it's on this album. Yeah. It's hilarious.
It's a great band. You're showing the best albums tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good choices.
Thank you. So, what else do you have for us?
So, I'm still going through that box of records, and what do I find next?
Boom.
Led Zeppelin IV. This is, Stairway to Heaven, Rock and Roll, Black Dog, Battle of Evermore. This is probably their most popular album. And I'll show you the full cover. And this way. This is probably their most popular album. And again, when I pulled the record out of the sleeve, lo and behold, it's another Pink and Plum Atlantic label first pressing of Led Zeppelin IV. And so now I'm holding 3 first pressings of Japanese records, of Led Zeppelin UK records, and I'm kind of astounded. And then I pulled this out. This is an album I have not bought before on vinyl because I've never found one that wasn't in some way, shape, or form damaged. Okay, this is in mint condition. This is I think this is their 8th album. It's called Into the Outdoor. This is a unique Zeppelin album because Jimmy Page was really kind of not around. He was suffering from heroin addiction at the time. John Bonham, the drummer, was really having a struggle with alcohol, and so Page and Robert Plant and John Paul Jones got together and wrote most of the material. So it's a unique album. It's very different than their other albums, and I appreciate it for what it is. There's some great songs on here. I love this album, but it's definitely different than other Zeppelin albums. What's also unique is you can see this sort of brown paper bag cover. These are rarely in good shape when you get them, and it's stamped on here like it's a bootleg album. And when you pull this out, you have the album cover itself. This is, of course, in mint condition as well. This photograph is there. This is one of 5, I believe 5. They took 5 different photographs from 5 different angles of the same scene in the same room. So then they took another one from the place of the bartender, another one from the place of the guy in the corner. And so they have 5 different album covers. This is album cover A. So this is the first one, and the odd thing is when you buy the album, this is great marketing, right? You have 5 different album covers, so if you're a completist, you want all 5, but you don't know which one you're buying when you buy it because it's in a brown paper bag.
Very clever.
Very clever. So to have all this in good condition was astounding to me, and I was getting kind of excited, so I opened this up. And sure enough, so this is actually done with magic ink. So if you get this wet, a bunch of bright colors, blue and green and red and pink, will show up on both sides of this. And that's normally what people have done already, so you don't find one in mint condition. This one has not been touched, and it's in immaculate shape. So then, of course, I had to pull the vinyl out. This is after they had left Atlantic and they had their own label, Swan Song. But this is a UK first pressing also of this album in great condition. So I end up with 4 first pressings of Led Zeppelin albums from the UK. And this box had a lot of other stuff. The guy who dropped it off was from the UK, from England.
How fortunate.
And I was going through, and I could have bought 15 more albums, but this is all I could afford. So that's my Grail. This is my other Grail. I'm such a lucky guy.
Aww.
So thank you so much.
So fun to show you music on here, and thanks for all your comments, and it's so great to connect with folks all over the world, and yeah, we love doing this. So thanks for watching Vinyl Crash.
Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you again soon.
Good night.
Good night.